jeffjcunningham.com. Inspired, there's always podcast swap with Cooking Up Success with Chef Ahmed. Listen, I was so blessed to be on this podcast that I figured, hey, we're going to put on our Make More Money podcast because this man literally has worked for celebrity chefs. There's a point where I ask his story. Okay, and at the end, just like the remix series, if you don't go through our channel, check out some of the remixes, some of the other guests we've had on. Every Friday at 5, we're gonna be putting out podcasts to you right here on YouTube. So click like, subscribe, and share this. But I do wanna say this. I'm gonna give my best takeaway at the end. We're also gonna put a sponsor cut in the middle. And we're doing this as a sponsored podcast. So I brought up the Make More Money podcast before we launched the Jeff J. Cunningham podcast, before I actually interviewed maybe all the really big people that, we're connected and we're doing our mastermind here for. But I built the Make More Money podcast for people who generally need to make more money, as if you could come on here, we'll interview, we'll highlight your business, you gotta qualify, and if I really believe in your business, like I do, Chef Ahmed's business is phenomenal. Invited me into his house, they put on this whole event, you'll see it in the starting, it was phenomenal. If you need a celebrity chef, man, check him out. His link should be in the bio, as long as we do everything in the right way as we're getting this up. Also, I do wanna give a shout out, okay? This is on the day, we're actually next week or the week after, depending on how we get it, Peter Petro, we are going to be having on at the Move Miami. I can't wait I'm going out and getting ready, preparing to record that at the Move Miami. And the Move Miami is the official home of the Make More Money podcast, where we host it in there. Oh shoot, I got to get the thing to put on. But without further ado, listen to this episode where he has me on, but you're going to hear his story for Chef Ahmed on the Make More Money podcast.
So this is a special one. I mean, welcome to Cooking Up Success, where we bring like-minded entrepreneurs and people that want to change their life and others' life. And today, we have Jeff Cunningham. He owns Changing Life Consulting. He's in a space of personal branding, business building, and he is a lot of high energy in him, and hopefully he's gonna let us get in and learn his secrets for success. So Jeff, welcome to Cooking Up Success.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I love the name Cooking Up Success. That's a great name, and I love your energy as well too. So thank you for doing this beautiful studio here and everything.
Thank you. Here in Miami Film House, my main Jordan. I mean, we had to do it, and we cannot wait to hear what you have to say to us. I mean, we were just speaking a little bit earlier about, the shortcomings and how everything started. And it's funny, we follow a lot of the same people in social media, Patrick Bet-David, Joe Rogan, Chris Williamson, and all these big names podcasters. I'm looking up to see how many of these podcasts. I mean, this is number 4, and I'm very untrained, but I have what it takes. So it's the mindset. And that's why Jeff is here as well, because his mindset has got him to here, and he's so young and he has so much energy. So
I'm not that young. I'm 39.
Yeah.
39.
Okay.
I'm still single in Miami. So talk about
wow.
And I'm not that. I always try and downplay my success, because if women think you're successful, they want all those expensive handbags,
Yeah, like Miami, right? So Jeff, why you don't tell us a little bit to our audience that are tuning up right now? What motivated you to start the Changing Life Consulting? How that started?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't think I've ever told it this way. I literally, years ago, by the way, does everybody call you chef first? Like chef? Because I always go to call you Chef Ahmed.
Call me Chef and Chef Ahmed.
Yeah, so I have you on my phone as Chef Ahmed. So I'm like, Chef Ahmed. I was like, the celebrity chef. Do you know him? He works for all these celebrities. I was like, I'm going here. I'm on a Cooking Up Success. I was telling everybody in my building.
Thank you.
But no, it basically started like this. And sometimes somebody will believe in you before you believe in yourself, right? And that happens for everybody. Before you probably started your business, I was in short, I wanted to move to Miami. I'd always come to Miami all the time. And the reason why I wanted to move to Miami was my older brother, Jason. He's the one who was like, hey, Jeff, let's build a business together. You had a lemonade stand when you were young. I need you to help me build a business. Now, I was teaching. Did you know I was a teacher?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. So I was a teacher for behavioral middle school kids. Yeah, all this high energy. I was a substitute teacher, really, to get it right. But I loved it. I was actually just did a thing on Instagram, on my Instagram, on Elon Musk getting rid of the Department of Education. Did you see that he's doing
didn't
that?
see it. No.
Dude, I'm so happy.
I gotta check that
I'm
out.
so happy because the whole reason why I did this was to change the education system. But my brother said, "Hey Jeff, stop being a teacher." Even though I was teaching video editing, music studio, I actually taught money management there, and while I was there. And he said, "Come build a business with me here in Miami." So we wrote on a napkin, about a napkin that size, the Cooking Up Success napkin. And then 2 days later, after I went to wake him up, my brother passed away on drugs, fentanyl. Jason.
Oh wow, sorry about that.
And shelled me. And because he passed away, I decided. And here I'll tell you the story. The reason why I wanted to do the coffee shop, we were in a Dunkin' Donuts. You know Dunkin' Donuts? And he was lost. And right now, imagine having everything you have, all the success, your beautiful house, and where he was at then, he just felt it wasn't enough, and for his family and his kids, and he wanted to become more of a man, to win back his family. That was his goal. And I saw him in a Dunkin' Donuts, and he was trying to talk to somebody, and the person didn't even care, and he was just like so like dejected, right? And so then when he talked about building a coffee shop and me and him were sitting here talking, I remember thinking, oh, I'm going to recreate that. So like, you know, you go to like Chick-fil-A or you go to like Trader Joe's and they have a different color, Apple, they have this different culture. I was like, I'm going to create that. And so there's a quote in life, you help enough people get where they want, you get to where you want. And after my brother passed away, I decided to build, I got pretty suicidal at one point. Everybody kept saying it's not your fault that he passed away. Because I talked to move to Connecticut. I'm from Connecticut. And I was loved teaching, getting paid $28K a year. And he said to build this business. I knew nothing about business, like building a business, right? And I'm 32 at the time. But when I went and visited a coffee shop in New Canaan, Connecticut, the guy was basically said, "Hey, you're an entrepreneur." And at that moment there, I felt like my purpose was felt. Like I felt like I found my calling, right? And everything, because I told him the stories of everything through my life that, I was coding software when I was young. I was trying to do this. And it's funny, just like your brand, Cooking Up Success, I used to sit in the back, coming back from church with my family and look at all these logos, Toys R Us, which now out of business.
Yeah.
Be like, who's behind that logo? So the fact that now I have a logo, Changing Lives Consulting, that people are behind, and it basically got started by me helping people make money online because I tried to do it. Like, you know Russell Brunson?
Of course.
So Russell Brunson, by shout out to Russell. Yeah, he sold a potato gun thing. The first thing I sold online was a Facebook group for $49 on fitness on the How diet, right? And then my brother was like, it was a 10-day cleanse. My brother was like, "You can't do that." And I was like, "Yeah, I need accountability. I'm going to get people to pay with it."
Yeah.
And then I actually let other people's opinions of me scare me. I sold a 3K 6-week boot camp on prospecting to business owners on how to get leads off social media. And people kind of got mad at me. And then I wound up listening to them. So I was like, oh, I don't want to just be a course guy, right? So I was like, we need to be a real business guy. But how it happened was I didn't stop. As soon as like when you're a teacher, you teach from a book. Like, do you know how many time zones are in China? Do you know?
How many what?
Time zones are in China?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I do. It's 2, right?
2.
If they didn't change it, and I don't know, who knows? Trump might change something now with that in a negotiation deal. But my point in saying that is, like, I was teaching the wrong stuff. So as soon as I started into personal development, buying all these things, I started reteaching it right away from theory. Because there's 3 ways to teach. From theory of, hey, I think from this book it is. Witness, right? Which then I did a lot of one-on-ones with one of my mentors. He said, hey, stop trying to make millions yourself, because I wound up coding a software with Ahmad in London. And we had this software that got leads online. Okay, so everybody wanted me because of the leads. And I made a lot of money online right away. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so easy. I'll be a millionaire, sell my software, and build my coffee shop, right? And that was my goal. And to get the software done, I got pretty good at webinars. So because I got good at webinars, people wanted me to do it. And I was doing door-to-door for solar. I wound up switching to fitness people because I was doing the fitness. Yeah. Fitness people, I always want to stay in shape, and they seemed pretty credible. They didn't have a lot of money, but I would teach me, hey, pay me $250 a session, and you'll make $2,500. I'll give you your money back. That's how I started. And then it went all the way up to $2,000 a session, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And then how it happened was during COVID, I blew up an app called Clubhouse. You know Clubhouse?
I hear about it.
Yeah. So it was a popular app where you just talk like this. And I guess I was saying something right, just like how you see me at events and I get up.
I do.
So I started just giving advice on what they should say on their funnels or their copy, right? Just copy consulting. And then people started flying me out, put me up in hotel rooms. And it was actually Patrick Ben David, the Vault event I went to. I raised my hand. Were you at that event?
No.
There was one. I raised my
One in the
hand.
Diplomat and
It was at the Diplomat. Yeah.
Miami.
In Miami, yeah. So I raised my hand, and Patrick goes, "Do you know Tom Hopkins needs clothes? Do you know what that is?"
No.
So it's what are you doing now? What do you enjoy? What you're doing? What alterations would you make? Are you the decision maker? Can I show you how? And sure enough, I shook hands for a $65K consulting deal that I wrote up 3 years ago for my company, Change Life Consulting. And that's what launched the company then. And we basically built out what webinar.
That's amazing. So what do you say that were some of the challenges? Like, I know you told me the story and you say, okay, I'm going to make money. I'm going to help people. I was a teacher. I'm a teacher, or I teach people. I kind of like it correlates with that.
Yeah.
But what are the challenges that you said, okay, this is getting difficult. Now I have to do this. I have to learn. I have to have a team. I don't know. Any challenges that you can share that you know there, okay, I'll learn from this.
So I was in Colombia,
Okay.
right? I went to Colombia. I thought I was going to build out a podcast for a guy like you, okay? A guy that I met before. He wanted to build his brand. So that's how I was trying to get business for it out there. And what happened was I just moved to Miami. I had one of the biggest paydays. I still remember I was in Vegas about to speak at an event. I had the biggest amount come in there. I was wearing one of those robes, and I was like, man, this is everything. I have all this money in my account. It's only up from here, right? And I sold my 4-unit. I closed a bunch of consulting clients, and now I started training people to be a licensee of it, so they can teach that, so I could have like a whole troop. And fast forward, I when I moved to Miami, I didn't know how to deal with people saying, "Hey, I want to meet you, get up with you." So I just went to another country, but not really. But what happened was my buddy and one of my friends, good friend, client, you might know him, Arturo Gambini. You know,
No.
Arturo? He's a great guy. He was the first guy who I did a coaching session. He made $10,000 the same day, right? And all I did was help him tell a story, emotion, value, and a subtle call to action. And I did in that realm. And he already had a product, so he was able to make it. But it gave me hope. And now fast forward, I'm in Colombia. I go to pay one of my assistants, right? You know, if you have a team, you got to pay those guys. And I go to pay, and all my accounts are wiped to zero. Wow. And this is not too long ago, actually. This is probably like 2 years ago now. And I looked at my account. I took off my hat because I had my hat with my logo on it. I had all the core values, courage, and I prayed to God. I was like, God, I thought you told me to build this business, you know? And I literally prayed, and I was like, Lord, I was like, if this is you, like, what's going on? And as soon as that, my phone get text, and Shalom, this is the story I was going to tell you before we were talking about. Shalom texts me the verse, hey boss, God put this verse in my heart, Jeremiah 29:11, okay? I didn't know that verse, okay? Now, I grew up in the church. I grew up Pentecostal church, then Baptist church, right? Yeah. Tried to marry the pastor's daughter in the Baptist church. That didn't work out too well. And now fast forward, so I'm in Medellin, Colombia. She texts me that. Nathaniel, who's a pastor's son out in the Philippines, he's another one of my guys. He texts me, boss, God told me to look at this Jeremiah 29:11. I get on. Now, I'm losing my voice. I call my dad. My dad's like, you're losing your voice, Jeff. You sound horrible. I'm trying to save the business, just making every sale, right? Calling through my list. I get on a last Zoom, and this guy, Emmanuel of Amp Your Life, okay, shout out to Emmanuel. He had a ring that said Jeremiah 29:11. So I asked Siri, hey, Siri, what's this verse, Jeremiah 29:11? And it says, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper and not harm you, and do everything in prayer. And as an entrepreneur, you hear the word prosper, and I'm like, oh, the Lord has plans for me, right? Now, fast forward, I was at an event with Glenn Lundy. It was called Grow for God, and there was worship music. And just, we've all prayed before, right? You've all like asked, you ever just pray like, God, what do I do?
Yes.
So I prayed just like that, like, God, who am I to start this consulting business? So look at me now. Right.
You're like, oh my God, okay.
Right.
Tell me.
And never did this happen before, but a pastor with a big beard walks over to me, taps me on the shoulder, did not hear my prayer.
No.
And goes, God hears the answers, yes. So I sold my 4-unit, moved to Miami. Now I'm in Colombia. I pray this all the time. And then because of that, I go home, I got down on my knees, and I prayed, and I heard from the Lord's voice. I heard him literally say, I got you, trust me. And then I was so scared. I had no money. I was like, I'm a failure. And by the way, I was just about to go get, I can say this now, an award of most influential in LA the next day. And I had no money in my account to even go buy the plane ticket, okay? Actually, one of the guys from Driven, Nemesio, I'll give him a shout out. Do you know Nemesio?
No.
Nemesio is the name. He owns a painting company. Great guy. He actually bought my tickets to get out of Colombia so I could go get this award. Okay? It's insane. This is why.
Well, that means that meant to, like, that had to happen.
Yeah.
That you flying and going there.
Yeah.
That had to happen.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, if you talk about challenges, I mean, that is a challenge itself. I mean, I moved from Puerto Rico in 2006, no English, no money, just a little money. And the first rent that I had to pay, the person asked me for $900. I only had $1,000. So right away, I'm $100 only in my pocket in America.
Wow.
So that was like almost 20 years ago. And I know exactly why you feel, because having no money and you're so young or you're no, it's the scariest thing, especially if you have family or anything like that. In that moment, it was you, but it meant to happen because then that helped you. That guy pay you the ticket, move forward, and then you travel and we did that.
Yeah.
And then you're here now in Miami.
Yeah, but so let me ask you about, because I'm so curious on other people's stories. So you're from Peru?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. So you came here when?
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, from
2006.
2006.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's crazy. And then you had $1,000. So you had $100 left after paying rent.
The first week, right away.
Wow.
And I called my mother. I'm like, I'm crying. And I cannot cry anymore because I'm like, I'm in America and I already only have $100 out of $1,000. The way that I got those $1,000 was selling my TV, my shoes, clothes, car, toys, things that I had in Puerto Rico, because I'm coming from a poor upbringing, so I have a lot of money on the, from the countryside, and I sold everything that I owe to have $1,000 to be able to come here. So that the first week, I'm only in $100 in my pocket. Of course, I had no idea what I'm gonna do. So I knocked at a lot of doors, and finally somebody opened the door and allowed me to move with that person. That's what that person asked me for, $900 out of my money, but I didn't want to sleep in the streets, so I had to give him the $900 to, that way I have a place to live, but I only had $100 left. So that is the problem right there. So that I start working in a restaurant, and this is in West Palm Beach. I started working in a restaurant as a line cook, and that's how it started.
Wow, dude. See, I thought you were this guy with celebrity chefs. He came up from all this. I didn't know that.
No, man.
Dude, that's
And I worked in the restaurant industry for like 16, 17 years. I became executive chef of big buildings and hotels in Miami. Well, no, I run big kitchens.
Yeah.
But then my sister and other people like, Albert Preciado, Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk was a very inspirational of me back in the day.
Gary, I
follow him a lot.
But no, forget everybody else. Forget you, Gary Cardone. Forget you that. Gary V, are you happy? Right? That's all what it's about. And even my messy content, right? People always get a hard time with that. How do you have 50K clients? You post wherever you want, because it's real, man. Like,
it's real.
We're gonna have Gary V on the Make More Money podcast. Basically, podcast I have doing.
Amazing.
And dude, he's been the most real guy. I was actually on a call with another guy. He DM'd him on Twitter and he invited him to his charity.
Yeah.
I always want to be like Gary V. Like, I was talking, and listen, we have a paywall on consulting. Screw all that. My team's going to get so mad at me. It's like, and you got to be careful, because once you get known, you get some crazy people, will come and visit you. But that's amazing, man. I did not know that. Like,
so I
thought this rich chef, this nice studio here, I was like, this guy's killing it. No.
We're still the beginning, and we just started.
Well, let's
6 years ago, we started the company.
Okay.
Obviously, you see our website, you see our clients, Google CEOs. We done events for Apple, Time Magazine, Versace. We done events for a lot of influencers. A lot of our clients are private jets. We done events for Bobby and Sofia Castro. A lot of people know.
I know. I love Bobby Castro.
So,
shout out.
And we have all these clients, but we're still in the beginning of it. Our goals is 20 years far away. I mean, hopefully it comes before that. But
let's look up the success a little sooner. Whatever you want to do. And I didn't know that. I thought you were this, because you were doing all these events. I was like, oh, is that his private jet or not? You know what I mean? So
so basically we do events.
Catering
events.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, no, I know you do catering events. Phenomenal food, by the way.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Amazing logo. Wow. Yeah. That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what are I mean, the struggles, everything, people are gonna resonate with that. They're gonna listen to Jeff. They're gonna learn from that. But what are the some of the strategies that you say, if you can share with us? Like, okay, how can somebody that is watching you, that is not in your position and is like behind, like it's just starting in the beginning, what are some strategies you can share that it's gonna help that person to come up?
Well, this is gonna age me, because I'm 39 years old here.
I'm 43.
Okay, yeah, but I wish back in the day they had what we have right now. Okay, automation and AI, and AI is easier to use than anything. I told you kind of when I went on about the AI software I tried to build.
Yes.
Well, it's now so easy to build with. Obviously you use ChatGPT.
No.
Okay, so you have
Wait,
you're not using
Chat GPT. Yeah, I use it all the time.
Okay, good.
All the
So
time.
save it in your phone as a corner.
Yeah.
There's all the little stuff of like, hey, is it going to use the information against me? I get that, but if you don't use AI, I encourage you to use AI well. Do you know how to make it like a custom AI, like customize your GPT where you put in all your information for it?
I haven't done that yet.
Okay, it's the best thing to do.
Because it knows you and knows your life.
It knows you. It's basically it's a large language module, and more bigger companies like Jordan here might have, when they have people sign up, they might have their own LLM modules. That's the newest thing that people are rushing to build out, the biggest tool.
Okay.
Because people want to own data. Okay, in market, it's always owning data, right? So ChatGPT owns your data by putting in it knows you, right? Same thing with Instagram. Instagram, if you have an Instagram account, you're starting now. I'm Jeff the Entrepreneur on Instagram. Switch your account to a creator account. Okay, because if you're starting, it'll pay you money by just posting. Okay, like right away. If a reel goes off and you're doing all this work to make your beautiful thing, when you have enough qualifications, you'll get paid for that. And then you can also, the Instagram AI is phenomenal. It'll read all your posts that you have, and it'll suggest like a dish, or if you say it'll do it all for you. So automation AI is key, and loading your ChatGPT. I mean, this is just the first thing of like, hey, I'm Chef Hamid. I have Jordan here. My podcast is here. I have these cigars that I sell, right? Whatever you want to put right in it. Then you could put, hey, write me a to-do list today. I have Jeff coming on and what to do and what sponsors we can get for the podcast, right? So like if I was you, like starting out now, because I've had 3 podcasts before I have mine.
Yeah.
I would start, you're doing all this. I would start going around to all these people, like you knock on door and say, I have this Cooking Up Success podcast. I'm starting out. I would tell your story about, hey, I'm from Peru, $900. I would love for you to sponsor my podcast. If it's someone you really like here, we'll do this right here. There was this Voss. So Voss, we'll send this to you. Can you sponsor his podcast here? Sam, he probably went out with his own money, right? You went out with your money and bought this for me?
Yeah.
He bought me sparkling water.
My company paid for it.
Okay, well, still.
It's the same thing.
But it's not.
But
you can get a sponsor. So I'm working hard to getting a Junie, a sponsor. It's a like little green tea drink of ours, right? So we're doing content for them. So you can get sponsors right away. You might as well lead. I teach a masterclass on how to build a podcast as well. That's a paid podcast, because my Make More Money podcast, I didn't have money when I started out. So I started the Make More Money podcast so I could learn how to make money. And I interviewed Brad Lee and all those people. And then anybody who wanted to be on, I charged them like $300 to be on back in the day.
Amazing.
Yeah. So now we charge a lot more than that. So, all right, we interrupt this podcast to tell you about the Changing Lives Mastermind. So literally, I've been connected by a lot of the best people around the world, and we're bringing them all to you, a network of grow, learn, travel, and connect. If you're ever looking to be around, business owners who are really crushing it and accessing my 7, 8-figure, 9-figure community, do a part of stuff that we are, click the link below, apply with Trisha, or one of our team members to see if you fit for this Changing Life Mastermind. It's a Christ-centered mastermind. God's given me a good gift to market, look for a copy. And because of that, eventually we're gonna have the coffee shop, Kokomo J. So the Changing Life Mastermind is phenomenal. We're gonna be going to the Philippines April 26th through May 3rd. Thank you, Jesus, for that. So if you want to join, there'll probably be information on tickets, or just book the call. And we look forward to it. Let's get back to the episode with Chef Hamid on the podcast.
That is amazing, Jeff. I mean, also inspiring story. I mean, and energy that you have to tell us, the things that the people that you have met on the way. And as you see, we have similar stories. We came from the backgrounds. They're like, the upbringings, very tough times and everything. And the connections that we have along the way, and the reading and the listening to podcasts and listening to the people that we follow help us to bring to open the mind, especially even in Miami. You know how the economy is in Miami. There's so much. I always said that there's a lot of dollars and money here to be made. You just have to meet people and get yourself out there and hustle and get it. Yeah, Miami is that place, right?
Yeah, that's true. Anywhere. I mean, I went back
anywhere.
I went back to Connecticut after, and I watched Grant Cardone's Undercover Billionaire. And I had nothing in the bank account. I took it as a challenge to go, and I went. It's all the lens you see, right? So like my lens is that people care, right? So I always find the people who care. So I find the people who are going to want to sponsor my podcast. People are like, no, I'll find them, right? People care for that. They care in the journey that I'm going to build a coffee shop one day, right? So if you believe that, you seek and you shall find, right? Like, very care in that. But like the 6 steps actually that like, do you have a signature, that story of you coming from Puerto Rico, $100? Do you have a signature brand story message? Do you have one of those like made?
Their brand story
Message, yeah.
like that, like the way that
Yeah,
you say it.
that you said it. Okay, so we could cut this podcast up. This is what I would do, where you talked about it. And you got
my website. I'm sorry.
It is? Oh, okay.
So it is in the website, but not like elaborated like the way you're asking right now. No, I don't.
Yeah, so you want so you want to do it. Here's the thing. I learned this. The guy was wearing a coat. I was at a network marketing thing, and he said this quote: "Tell your old story to new people every day, right?" And that's it. So that story, you just keep telling that story. Like, I've been telling the story. I can't. People are like, when's your coffee shop? People get so mad about it. Jeff, you're doing this whole Changing Lives Mastermind. Where's the coffee shop, right? I know it's my life. I know exactly when I want to do it, right? And I feel like I've lived my brother's dream even more by inspiring other people. That's my mission statement. Inspire others always to get to their dream. To be able to do that is kind of what I was doing for my brother. So the fact that I can, I would always say my dreams keep me awake, right? And that would make everything like it became a hashtag of everything. Hey, on my YouTube channel, put my dreams keep me awake, inspire others always. That was like me documenting the journey. So, but if you have a design 1-minute brand message video of
1 minute,
1 minute, because everybody has 1 to 2 minutes.
You
can even take it from the podcast here. Then you find your target market. Okay, so who's like your target market that you work with?
High network.
Okay.
A lot of corporations, and obviously anybody that comes from outside of Florida, they rent Airbnbs or big rooftop penthouse yachts, and we do those events. We market to our advertising Google and Yelp a lot.
Yeah,
so having Google.
So even without that, with no money in advertising, you can do that and advertise.
Yeah,
you still take your brand story message. Then it's all personal. Like we were talking about, like Joe Rogan right here, right? Like we're before the podcast, we're like, hey, Joe Rogan does this podcast here. We love how Joe Rogan does it.
Talks to people.
Yeah, because that's what you do. That's what like we all talk. Like we have God-given gift to talk. Podcasts. And by the way, podcasts are just, if you haven't started your podcast, start a podcast. Trump won because he was on a podcast. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he went and did the podcast tour. Kamala wasn't doing podcast tours. So. But so once you get your signature brand story message, the next step, 6 steps. First step, brand story message. Second step, put it in front of your target market, okay? And instead of doing it advertise, because it's like, hey, I wanted to ask them, send it to them. Hey, when you have 1 minute, check this video out. Very incentive. Boom, they check it out. Hey, I came for $100. Now I have a celebrity. If you know anybody who has, wants to do chefs, we've done of X, Y, and Z. That's the message, right? And sometimes you don't even put the call to action in it. You just tell your story. Hey, what do you do now? You want to ask questions, okay? So like, we can even do it now. So then after target message, then you now go to advertise. We build funnel with qualifying questions, okay? So now when they see the message, now they reach out. Now it's like, well, do you qualify enough for us to do your event? Do you qualify enough for us to come to the event, right? In our mastermind, right? And then after that, then you can go crazy with this on stage, social, get it and speak on stages, speak at events, right? Do a webinar, right? That's kind of this for. And then obviously it's closing a deal, getting the contract. Oh, that's always the toughest part. People never want to pay. and then it gets into AI part, which once you have all those 5 pillars built up, it's automation, AI, and ads. And sometimes a lot of people run to ads, which is fine. You can. You do well with ads or no?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So if you do well with ads, then keep doing it. But if you do an organic brand, like this is all organic, it builds up more trust.
I mean, our company is we set to do 7 figures probably in the next year already.
Oh, wow. Nice.
All right. Time. I mean, you never reached that way. We are in the 6 figures high up and mid, but humbly saying we started absolutely zero. And then we slowly, what happened is the doors opening. And then doing podcasts like this, people like you, I know you have an audience, and I know you have like close to 30,000 followers on Instagram, because I do follow you, but you are all about content and showing people and teaching and showing, and you go to Midtown and you go to Wingwood where you live in Midtown and you record yourself, and it's like, whoever is watching, if you don't want to start, it's because really you don't have the desire or a clear vision and goal to do it, because anybody can grab their phone and start recording, especially iPhone 16. They're really, very good. Yeah. And so there's no excuse for nobody. But I want to ask you something, Jeff. Yeah. The story amazing, and you're here now, and for a young person that's wanted to do in a busy and very big space of personal branding and consulting and business building like you do, because there's a lot of competition out there. Obviously, you're not the one doing that. There's a lot of bigger companies, bigger people doing it. What do you think is that person that wants to start? What is the character traits and people has to have to start and be successful in Miami with a company like the one that you do?
Yeah, so there's a lot of people who do what I do, but
Right.
nobody. So here's the thing, but nobody cares like how I do, my core values and like your story. Like I only want people who want to be a part of one day when I build a car show. I know where I'm going, and there's a great affirmation I say every day. I yield to God who I'm called to serve. Right.
Yeah.
So like there's everybody's like, oh, what makes you different? It's like it's just a different journey, right? Like I really might run for president one day. Like I'm gonna do something. The Lord's called me. Whatever the Lord wants me to do, I'll do. But like I didn't come in this world to just like sit back. Like you saw me at events. I'm always asking questions.
Oh yeah,
you know?
pictures all the.
So like I as soon as I found my purpose to be an entrepreneur, which do you know the definition of an entrepreneur?
The real definition?
Yeah.
No.
It's you own business or businesses and take on greater than financial risk, right? Which we've all done, right?
That's exactly what we do.
That's exactly what we do, right? We go and rent the studio for the podcast and make money because I think it'll work, right? And we do it again and again, right? Like I built a VA business in the Philippines and that was greater than financial risk, right? I thought that would be a great thing and it really saw everything. But that's part of it. But it's crazy because yeah, you just want to start like here's the thing. It's information. Information is $1 trillion industry, okay? And AI is a $1 billion industry. So with AI, you can do this really quick. You can go to ChatGPT and write in the prompt, please create me a 6-step ebook on how to find the best caterer, right? Or something like that, right? Like, and then it would be like what do you want to do is like what not to look for in like a catering thing or how to have the best thing. And then you'll look over the 6 steps. You'll know because you're a caterer of what it is. If it's cool, you'll check it. And then you're going to write your story in the flap, okay, about you coming from $100. Your story, facts tell, story sell. So your story goes in the ebook. You then list the ebook for $49, okay? And the reason why I say $49 is because it's like people, you ever download a free ebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't really look at it when it's, right, many times, right? Now you want to hear from it.
Has listened to audio.
Or audio or
anything.
Yeah, so you can do that. So $49, let's say you make it an audio thing and you put it that way. Then you host like a little event, just like we're doing here. We're doing an event, Story to Stage. We have a book on the 3 steps that I got to speak on stage, right? And so then we do a little workshop. And at the end of the workshop, we say, hey, if we want to help you through it, it's $2,000, right? And then you get 10 people, you make $10,000. That's how it goes. And you don't even need to buy Progretta, which is like or Go High Level, which is the Go High Level I use. You don't need to do any of that. You can literally go make money out of thin air just like that. But a lot of what happens is with like trending, like AI is trending. That's why we're doing the AI and automation workshop boot camp. We did the same process, and I've taught that process many times. It's not, but it's hard. What's hard to do it is to build the trust with people. Okay, why are we going to buy from Jeff? Why are we going to buy from you? What makes people trust you is the story, and why there's so many scammy marketers who can fake a story. If it's a true story and people feel it, like most people can, they'll buy. They're like, okay, I trust you. A lot of times why people in their brand itself don't do it, they don't trust themselves, right? And that's why they're.
You think that so most of the people are looking at the story of the person, because I study a lot of people like they know about the brain and all that, and it talks about the story of the person that you're reading from or studying, that story of them, their upbringings resonates with you, and then you identify yourself with that person.
Right, exactly.
And that's why the story is.
It just happened here when you started talking about maybe $100 that you have left. I took myself right where I was, where you were. I was like, oh, I didn't care. We can't. And then that was a bond. I said, let's blow up your business, right? So like that's the same way, right in there, right? So your authentic story does work.
Yeah.
And then with AI, it's a no-brainer because you can actually put out more products, and in the digital. Do you have any digital products you sell online?
Not yet.
All right. Well,
I want to use when Cooking of Success gets bigger, like Cooking of Success #2 this year, by the way, in November again. Okay. It's gonna be 10 times bigger, hopefully, and we're gonna have a lot more. But
yeah, well, come to it.
When that happens, Cooking of Success is educational part, and I'm gonna start selling books. I'm gonna write my first book eventually, and many other things that I want to say. But I don't have anything digital there, but that's the point.
But we have ChatGPT. Let's do it right now. You can text 786.
This is what we have here from the
9907 and text ebook, okay? And you can pre-order his ebook right here. You know what I mean? Like that's what I would do. Like that's on my webinar. We have an automated webinar that runs. Okay. On Christmas, I was sitting with this girl who broke my heart at one point, and then she comes back. The Lord brought her back while I'm on Christmas with her. This past year, and I got a sale right from my phone, and I showed it to her like, this is the process, because we had an automated webinar. People come and see, they see online business, they resonate with the story, they see a sales issue, they buy, right?
Yes.
So that's the game, right? Automated sales, right? And then you do that many different times. And obviously it's simple because in the digital course product, because I used to do all what Jordan did, right? And you have to like make sure everything's good. If they're not happy, here's the stuff, get the edits through the cards.
Yeah.
I used to do, I don't think I ever did. I worked at a restaurant. I was a waiter, right?
Wow.
People don't like the food. You got to do that. Oh yeah, I love that. I was a cook for a little bit, a fry guy, and then I was a dishwasher, you know?
I was a dishwasher too.
Yeah, I actually started as a dishwasher, and then I talked a lot, so then the dishes backed up, you know? So then I started.
Imagine.
Yeah, I waited tables and bartended, and then I used to try and get as many. I used to have shirts that say, and I'll probably bring out, I collect the hundreds, and I used to get as many $100 tips there at the steakhouse I worked at.
You know what's funny? You talk about the dishwasher and all that stuff. That's crazy because I was a dishwasher. I was a prep cook one time. I did so many things. I even washed cars in Puerto Rico way before I started doing culinaries. But,
Wow.
you know, another thing that I want to share here, you know, and it's important to the story that we talked about earlier. I also got fired in my life probably more than 12 to 14 times in different restaurants. It just sucked for me. I didn't engage with the team. I thought that I was better than them. I have my ego. I have all these problems way before I start studying anything related with mindset and all these things.
Wow, I would never. So I love how you are right now. So because by the way, you can ask my brother. I used to be like kind of this hot shot playing quarterback. It's my way, right?
Yeah.
Like I got let go from Wendy's. I just did a video on our free value page because I did a page with all free value. And I got let go of Wendy's because I didn't want to listen to the new leader. Like there was actually that guy named Francisco that I like. He was like you. And me and him, we would just like, you know, make the burgers. We had great. And then this other girl came on and she had all these other ideas and I was disrespectful to her. So I was not back on the schedule, right? And it's not funny, but like, it wasn't that I was like, man, I want to build my own business. How are they making rules for me? That was my whole goal.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to do it. And then you're right, man. Personal development, man, buying whatever you buy, whether it's the best, man. That's what they should teach. That's why I'm so happy. Elon Musk. I know people get mad about this. I talk about politics a lot, but Elon Musk, he's now not, he's getting rid of the Department of Education, which is great because the education system here is horrible. I be a teacher, I know. And if you have Elon Musk, who's one of the smartest guys doing it, man, that's the best that we can have.
So it's funny about the education. It's true. And I'm going to speak now to cooks in Miami or anybody that works in the restaurant industry. There's a ceiling. And when you work for a corporation and work for a bigger company, there's always a ceiling. So that means that you're going to plateau because if you want to become a multimillionaire, if you want to become somebody in the restaurant industry, any place, any job, if you work for somebody, there will be a ceiling that you cannot go above that because you got bosses and you got managers and you got owners. In order to you go above that, well, you're going to have to go by yourself and probably start a company or get promoted to a be number 2 or number 3 or be a number 4, and then you make a lot of money. So a lot of people are not drive by money or drive by success, but because this is cooking up success, this is very important to you guys know that basically we are here to let you know that if with the vision and the mindset and the right people and the right connections and talking to somebody like Jeff, doors will open and the universe will work. And if you believe in God and if you pray and whatnot, all those things matter, and that just influence and helping you what you want to get. Do you agree with that? Do you think like
totally, man? And I think it's key that like I'm so glad I came on here because I saw you at an event. This is why it's good. I put on monthly events now because I like to see. I'm a connector. That's my guy.
You are a connector,
right? So I love connecting people in that, right? Yep. And because I just have a good memory and I meet a lot of people. I mean, that's how you become a connector, right? And then I'm like, hey, you need this. He has that. Jordan's here, right? And then I just remember people, right? So that's part of the reason why I started the Changing Lives Mastermind, because actually I had a guy text me, and I'll give him a shout out. I don't know if I should, but Tony was like, yo, get me on Brad Lee's podcast. You know Brad Lee?
Of course.
And I know Brad Lee. I love Brad Lee.
Speed.
Lightspeed, yep. He was on one of my first podcasts back then when I started. We just remixed it, and I just got off the, with Amrinder Kamboj. He's one of my newer clients, guys, but he put me on a stage between Andy Elliott. You know Andy Elliott?
Of course.
Talk about a tough stage to follow. And by the way, I'll say this, Andy Elliott
It's ripper than ever.
he got up there, and he's so intense when he speaks. He's like, who here had somebody change their lives today? Who told them that? Now, I source most of the people, so I had a lot of people. My company's called Changing Lives, because people are like, Jeff, you changed my life. So I'm getting ticked off, because I'm watching Andy up there. I'm like, dude, I had like 5 people. So then and this is probably wrong.
Andy live and driven event.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal live, right?
Yeah.
So I get up after, I have to follow him, right? And it was probably my worst, best presentation. There was a point where I said, guys.
You say worst, best?
Yeah, meaning like, I didn't do, like when I spoke on Amazon Prime and I was on My Dreams Keep Me Awake about my brother, that one, that was really good. Like, I'll share that. You can search my
felt that was great. That you felt.
Yeah, it was just that was my first one that I did, and it just that one got me paid speaking gigs. You know what I mean? So that one, yeah. When I got to I called Amrinder, I saw Nick Marchand, a bunch of the people, and I said, hey man, if I can get you 15 people to your event, can I get 15 minutes on stage? He goes, bro, if you get me 40, come on stage. And then the guy treated me like a younger brother, even though he's older than me. He reminds me of an older brother, especially where he's at in his life. The guy's done 300 million, put on this whole $1 million event, didn't want to sell anything. The X-Pro Domination Conference in Cabo. Okay, one of the best events. So now at the event, he has the book. It came a lot of inspiration from The Vault. So kind of like how The Vault and Patrick and David is. He had a book out there where we're solving people's business problems right in there, right? It was great because although maybe I didn't have the bankroll to put on an event like that, he did. It's everything that I would want to do. And I was like, dude, you should sell a coaching program. No. Let's just give. So he just gave. And then I had to follow Andy Elliott. Andy, who changed your life? I get on stage after. When I got on stage, I say, hey, anybody here that have impacted your life in some way, please stand up, right? And some people got really mad about that because like, oh, who's this guy? They talked to me about it after. But the coolest thing was there was a girl that I did fall for while I was there for a little bit. She stood up, and yeah, it was good, man. It was a good memory,
So what do you think about? I mean, we spoke about AI and what other things? Innovation, AI, computer, anything related with the future. Besides that, is any other innovative things that you can do to succeed in your space, like besides social media, podcasts? I mean, what else could we recommend to do in your space?
Yeah, so right now, there's live shopping is going to be huge now, right? Do you know what Whatnot is? Whatnot?
I don't know what it is.
So download Whatnot.
Whatnot.
TikTok live shopping. You've been on TikTok live. So Whatnot's kind of like that. It's going to be the newest thing. So if we have this, I can go live right now and I can say, hey guys, if you want something I have in, I can make money from home and say, buy Voss. I already done it off TikTok live. My creatine and my protein powder, I've put them up there and you can list the product. That's going to be the newest thing. Okay.
Wow.
And then the other thing with AI, there's going to be a lot of AI influencers that are going to get paid, right? You can do it right now. You can make up AI courses. I did for our AI mastermind. I made a clone version of me. But I actually do believe this, and I'm going to go on record, that you personally are going to be more valuable because once you can clone everything yourself, people are going to want you even more. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, there'll be another run. But to stay in front of, use some of these tools. Perplexity, Perplexity?
I do not.
So it's a research tool on AI.
Okay.
There's so many different ones. I use Typeset, which does presentation slides right now. It's okay. They'll all get there. But if you go to getclc.com, I always update every month. Getclc.com, there's an ebook there. There's top 6 AI tools to use in your business right now. Because there's whatever we're using that we find value, we update the book like every quarter. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, there's so many and it changes and some of them are good, but like Trump just did a big deal where they're going to be building data centers. You ever see the movie Westworld?
Westworld?
It's a TV show on HBO.
Oh.
So it's basically a clone version. Like I'm not a real version of me. I'm a cyborg, right? I just sent my cyborg here. You don't know this. My other place is working at home.
Okay.
That's like what Westworld was, okay?
Can you know the difference of who's who? Like, you'll be able to know?
You didn't. The guy like in West, and I didn't even watch the whole season. The guy like, it was like done in the, but people are going to be falling for robots, man. They're going to have robots in everybody's home pretty soon. I mean,
oh my God.
We're really there. We're there now. We're one big catastrophe away, just like COVID, okay, to getting people to mask up. Have you been in the metaverse yet?
Not yet.
So
But I've seen videos of metaverse. Hey, look.
if they figure out a way to lock us all down again, like they did, right?
Yeah.
Like you were locked down COVID,
COVID.
and then all the government or whatever sent. And I know I don't know what's gonna happen because right now with Trump winning, I feel like it's Christmas. Trump won. I know Trump's not perfect. Don't get me wrong, right? I would be a better president than you, Trump. But on top of that, he's doing more stuff to funding everything. I'm like, man, it's like Christmas right now. You know what I mean? Like right now, more stuff's happening. But I just in the Bible, okay, it talks about the Lord returning, right? And it talks about the Antichrist. And my dad, when I was young, he grew up. I'd be like, "Shut up, Dad." He always used to talk about the Antichrist, right? And so it makes me to work out my salvation with fear and trembling. Of it, like how much do I like? Yeah, I rededicate my business to God. I told the story, but like how much do I really say that, hey, Jesus is the way? He's really the answer. Like, yeah, you believe in God. That's cool. But like, if I really believe it and it's really life and death and when we die here, if I don't tell it and Jesus doesn't love you, then like, well, that's my real purpose, you know? And like, even Tony Robbins, he started that way, you know, saying a lot of that and got away. And I just hope, and not in like a preachy way, but in like a conviction way. You know what I mean? And like the Lord's working with me bigger than ever to kind of like, I even fight saying that right now. You know what I mean? Like, wait, should I say this? And like, that's how I know I should, right? What's uncomfortable, you do it, right? Because it's too important. Like, I don't know what my future holds, but I know who holds the future, right? And that's key. Like when you know that, then you can surrender and be obedient, especially for us entrepreneurs. We have to resurrender every time when we're doing payroll or try to pay something and move money here and take, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, shit, when I have 4 events in 1 week and I did use 10 employees, then I have to do payroll for them and I have to figure it out.
hey, you had a guy come from Canada.
Yeah.
One of your guys.
Chef Khaled.
You're such a great leader. To watch you do the event, everybody came, and that event was phenomenal.
You know, I invited 100 people. The people that I invited to Cooking Up Success was our top clientele for the last 6 years. Most of them were the big ones that I wanted to show. You know, some of them, and they make over 50 mil a year, and they're very successful. And that is designed. Cooking Up Success is so in the future. Like for example, this year, I'm going to have audience from the outside paying because, to be in a room of so many successful people, listening to stories and learning from them, most likely you have to pay. But in this time, it will be an event like you saw and our service, and then all these people in the room, right, and having an event. And I mean, we invited 100 people, like 25 came. We were extremely happy how we went. And Chef Khaled from Canada, shout out to Khaled, he traveled just to do this. We connected on Instagram. And Chef Khaled will be coming again on the 27th of this month. Jeff, on the 28th, I have an event. This company from Chicago hires for 2nd year in a row. They are renting 5 100-foot yachts. 5.
Wow.
And then, and I'm doing my service entirely for the 5 yachts the same day. Yeah, wow. The same afternoon.
That's so much pressure.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure, but I did it last year already. It was 4 yachts. This year, they added 1 more. It's 13 guests per yacht. I have to send a chef, a server, and a bartender per yacht, and I have to, the strategy here and the logistic here, and my job comes into, is that every yacht has to be a replica from each other on our service, the taste, the cocktail, and everything.
And the
leadership. But I just hired, Jeff, 10 people in the last 5 days.
Wow.
10 people, bartenders. And my bartenders are my chefs and people that I hire. I cannot hire anybody that has less than 8 to 10 years experience and needs to be very knowledgeable. Bartenders from the W Hotel, Fontainebleau, people professional. And they work with me part-time. And you know what I tell them every time that I hire them? First of all, this is going to be a part-time opportunity. You're a 1099 with me.
Right.
And then this is for a person that wants more in life. They want to grow. They want to have the experiences that you live, being with me in these places that I go, and be surrounded the people that I surround myself with. If you want that and you like money and you want to grow, then you can work with us. And then half of them say yes, half of them say no. Right. I don't know what they want to say no, but they want to stick with their 9 to 5. Right. I understand. I respect you. But if you want to grow, you're going to have something else on the side. And that's why somebody that works in the Fontainebleau as a full-time bartender, they still need to have another on the side job
Right.
to make it in Miami.
Yeah.
What do you say about that? You understand what I just said, right?
Yeah, no,
I
that's
mean,
crazy.
That is crazy. I mean, you think that bartender probably makes, I don't know, 100K a year, something like that, 150K.
Yeah, by the way, that's
But you
people think because I get paid to do consulting and stuff that, oh, Jeff, that must be great. It's nerve-wracking as all heck. You pay me, I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna work, but I love it. It's my God-given gift. God's giving me a gift to like almost prophesy, like see the future, right? Of what people can be. And it's empath and everything. And I can do it with copy. Like I've done it like the times I'm getting. Like I'm on one of my clients I sit on is great company. They're doing ads. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Change this word.
Yeah.
That's what I like. So it's crazy that I actually built a business out of that, like with limited. But my point in saying that, it's just crazy, is that what you do is amazing. Like the fact that you sell the vision to all the people in there, that's what it is. That's like, that's everything, right? And like, I love that because that makes me, my favorite way to make money was to bartend. And I would bartend weddings and stuff. That's how I got doing photography weddings, because I used to document them. And people are like, oh, can you film them? I was like, yeah, I guess so. So then I would do that. But I love bartending, man. That was the best way. And if I worked with someone like you who held like, hey, this is the way we're going to do it, you created the thing, man, I was running through the wall. Oh yeah, it would be the best.
The key that I experienced is, and in Puerto, and you probably have a system of how you do things, and you teach the person. Now, do you find that I mean, it's different, right? I have to hire people that have a lot of experience, but then maybe the people that hire you have no much experience. That's why I hire you, because they don't.
Yeah, no, they usually, my perfect clientele has a lot, like they're kind of your clientele. They have 300 million. They actually have a lot of experience in business. They just have experience on the online business. So they actually have more knowledge than me.
So the personal branding and all that online is what probably they're seeking you for, like to teach them.
They just want leads and customers. At the end of the day, that's what people come to me for. Yeah. Right. And like, very simple with the AI and automation. Yeah. But like Robert Damangella, right, of Multifamily Finance Insider, they've become clients and friends. He wound up, he came to me because people were trying to pick his brain about knowledge for multifamily advice. Like, hey, I think I can make a business. And now he's done multiple six figures. We had a 49K webinar. We're going to give him the 100K months. It's a struggle, but we do it with not like worrying about the money. That's just the target, but really curating the best community, kind of like what you do, right? Like getting the best people together, right? And you got to do it with core values, what we stand for. These are our standards. This is how we're going to do it, and sell people on the vision. You know, we're visionaries. You know?
Exactly right. I mean, hey, I know you have a full-time in W Hotel in Miami or the Fontainebleau in the Ritz-Carlton, but if you're looking for another job, it's because you need it. Okay, this is what I offered to you. I offer you the experience, the knowledge. You're going to get all of me to you. This is heart from me, from my heart to you. Yeah. And then I help you to grow whatever you want. And obviously, most times they say yes. So we're very excited about that.
How could you say no to this guy, man? I see why you get so many clients.
Yeah, well, so, you know, we're getting close to the end, but I want to ask you a few more questions. So one very important, what are the future goals and plan? And give me a just short resume of what do you think is the future, short-term and long-term for Changing Life Consulting and yourself?
So yeah, I was on with my coach Mo that I told you about last night, and he said, "Hey man, I don't want to hear about anybody else's success. I want to hear about your success. Stop telling me about you selling their 25K mastermind. How many 25K masterminds you sell?" So we launched the Changing Lives 100K mastermind with all of our clients that trusted us. We're doing an event in Dubai. I'm going to the Philippines in May. May 3rd, April 26th, May 3rd. Italy, we're going to be going through for a fitness coach. We're building on his course. All these. So we're launching, we're doing the mastermind first to bring a lot of people to the room together, to kind of get access to network. It's the time is now. I had one of my good friends, Tim Story, tell me, he was on my podcast, and he said, hey, build other people's dreams before you build your own. And then just recently he came up to me and said, the time is now. Everybody's saying it. And now that my foundation is strong with the Lord, the Changing Lives Mastermind community is going to be exactly that. It'll be great. And then what we'll do is we'll exit that business in 3 years. And in Midtown Miami, we'll build the first Kokomo J's, the coffee shop podcast studio.
Stay tuned, because that's going to happen. I mean, Jeff is the one that
it could happen sooner. People get mad. People always get mad because they're like, why don't you do it sooner? Like Bruce, I'll give Bruce a shout out, and Diana, because I've been talking about things. But I didn't want to do it now. I want to do it when I had gray hair. I'm getting some, and I want to be like that like older guy. I picture myself like the older guy walking into his business, right? And I want to have enough money so like I can hire the best, that I can go recruit you away to run one. You know what I mean? In a way, because it costs a lot of money with a lot of talent to get the right people in there, right? I know I consult these companies and see that.
What is your own definition of Cooking Up Success? I mean, I'm going to tell you what it is in Spanish and English, and you tell me yours.
Okay.
Cooking Up Success in Spanish means, o Cooking Up Success en español significa, ¿qué estás haciendo o qué hiciste y qué estás haciendo para lograr tu éxito o para lograr el éxito que vas a tener? ¿Qué tienes que hacer? So that means, what are you doing to achieve your success, or what are you been doing, and what are you doing to achieve the greater success that you want? So what is your definition of Cooking Up Success?
Yeah, really to know him and make him known, right? And that's as clear as that sounds, like in branding and marketing.
Yeah.
To know him and make him known, making Cooking Up Success. You got to made him known, right? That's the thing. But even greater than that, to know him, meaning know the Lord,
Yes.
and make him known, right? Because at the end of the day, I went to VU Church. You ever been to VU Church out here?
No.
It's a great church. It's a come as you are church, right? It's very cool. You got to be careful because there's too many women there. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to stay single here, you know?
Yes.
And secure and single and all that. But no, VU Church is a great church, and they do this. You know the DISC test, DISC?
No.
Okay, so it's great. Like I'm a high I. Okay, dominant. Like Trump is a high D. Okay, dominant. He's dominant. S is like supportive, a support person, and C is collaborative. So all God's given us. Jordan's probably more S or C because he's more supportive and cautious. So he's making sure everything's good. So he has that. He doesn't have my God-given gift. That's where we work together, right? So it's very important. Well, at VU Church, when I went to serve on the social media team, they wound up doing this thing where you found your biblical gifts. And I found my biblical gift, and they likened to Bible characters. And one was John the Baptist. You know who John the Baptist was?
I don't know.
So he was this crazy guy who was kind of like me, would go around and just like promote everybody.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, that's it. I'm an evangelist. So yeah, the Lord is using my business as a ministry, my VA company. Everybody else is doing that. And it's really to win souls for Christ at the end of the day, you know?
Amazing. Well, you heard the man. This is Jeff, and he teaches today his story, his background, his upbringings, the success, some of the failures that made him who he is today, and also he's teaching us his personal consulting, branding, and developing what he does to teach others and already well-established companies to brand and to grow their own companies. He is just starting. I believe he has a lot more to offer, and he's going to grow much more. Not just for this podcast, a lot of audience going to watch him and look at it, what he's doing, but also for the rest of his career. And that's it. I mean, it's pretty amazing what he's done. So we want to give him a shout out to my man Jordan, the owner of Miami Film House, where we're here today. Jordan, we've been with him for the past 3 years. I've seen his growth in the last 3.5 years or 4 years, and we cannot be any more proud of him. I know that I don't want to hire anybody else. I mean, look at the studio. We're doing this beautiful podcast. So shout out to Jordan, Jeff, for saying yes and being here with us for like an hour or so. I'm your host, Hernandez, and this is the Cooking Up to Set podcast. Stay tuned because February 26th, we're going to do a podcast in the Kikimora studio in Miami. So stay tuned.
All right, my biggest takeaway, by the way, on being on the podcast was amazing that literally you'll see in a point where, you know, I go off on my story and being interviewed, sometimes you can't go off too long. Okay, that was my biggest takeaway. While rewatching it, was like, man, Jeff, shut up, you know? But was actually when I asked him about his story, and he talked about he came here and had $100 left and came here from Puerto Rico, right? And I was just like, man, you know, I see him with all these celebrity people rubbing shoulders out here in Miami, targeting what he's doing his ads, doing everything for Cooking Up Success, you know, over here at the Miami yacht thing, he's putting out boats. And that was the biggest thing of his story, that not everybody, just because you see him here and they're buying the head tickets. I think we walked into a driven event or some mastermind event together. So I pictured him up here in my mind and seeing that, man, he's just out here doing it. And also the second thing, this is the behind the scenes, he was nervous about doing the interview. He crushed it in there, right? Now, this is the first time, it was the 4th episode. I was very blessed to be on, but he was nervous because he wanted to do well. So Joe Rogan, man, have Chef Amit on your podcast. I'm calling out now because I love inspiring other people too, you know? And then what was the third takeaway was that when I stood up, you know, I said a few things about politics and, you know, I get in there about everything because, you know, one day maybe I'll run for government if Lord willing. But for right now, man, I love business. I love masterminds. I love putting people together. I love networking. I love helping people, you know, just build out their personal brand and be able to figure out how to help you through changing lives. And the biggest thing that at the end is when I stood up for the Lord, when he asked me really quickly, hey, what is Cooking Up Success to you? And I said, to know him and make him known. It showed that my faith was getting stronger. I learned that my faith was getting stronger, where I was scared to do it, and I'm less scared to do it. So if that's anything like you guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Click on the link below. If you've listened to this, just check out what our mastermind's about if you want to be a part of it. It's a great community of people. Shout out to, I'm going to give a shout out to Shelby Sapp. She sells degree is way better than Harvard degree. I'm already living proof with Amber coming on, Trisha who's there, and anybody else, and everybody wants access into it. So she does phenomenal. I even though like sometimes that like I do webinars and I do marketing, I give shout outs to people I know doing it right, building a good community for where they're at. I love promoting others and growing and learning still at this day. And shout out to Russell Brunson. We're gonna have him on here eventually coming soon. A lot of great guests coming up. Stay tuned. Make More Money Podcast. Thank you so much. See you guys next week.